When Megaman X released in 1993, it changed the series forever. Incredible high-speed platforming, tons of secret upgrades, and a much more serious story elevated Mega Man to a new standard that it would only lean into more heavily going forward. But this video isn't about that, because while Mega Man X was out trailblazing a new path for our favorite bomber, the classic series continued on. And oh boy was it a hard road for it to go down. Mega Man 7, the only entry in the series to make it onto the Super Nintendo, spent only about 3 months in development, yet had huge shoes to fill. Unfortunately for many, this resulted in less than favorable reviews, as people criticized its slower pace and how compared to X it didn't bring nearly as much new to the series. But was that really warranted? Was Mega Man 7 really that bad, or hell, was it even bad at all? I think it's quite the opposite actually, as this adventure on the SNES is what I believe to be one of Mega Man's most accomplished titles. It's a game full of secrets, playful and colorful graphics, and a whole host of amazing levels. It had a simple and fun story and even introduced some new faces that would stick with Mega Man for a long while. So let's talk about what makes Mega Man 7 so special. Upon starting a new game, we're immediately introduced to the game's story. Wily had hidden away 4 secret robots to break into his prison and set him free once more. It's up to Mega Man to throw a wrench in his renewed plan for world domination. I always quite liked this, and while the storyline bits in this game do slow it down a little bit, it's an attempt at an actual plot in a classic Mega Man game, something they'd never really done before. Sure, there were plotlines before Mega Man 7, but they'd never grow past a small intro sequence. And if you wanted to know more, you'd have to go out of your way to read the manuals, if they were even accurate. Speaking of story and characters, Mega Man also gets a brand new rival in this game. Bass seems to be an almost perfect counterpart to Mega Man, and he even comes with his own robot companion. He appears to be an ally at first, but it's revealed later that he was built by Dr. Wily all along. The game starts on an intro stage, which is a welcome change and serves as a great introduction to new players. In general, the game makes a very conscious effort to be more accessible. This is never more obvious than in the level select screen, where now we only get to select from 4 Robot Masters rather than the usual 8. This is probably where this one differs the most from the titles before it, as Mega Man 7 is split up into 2 halves, and you've got to beat the first 4 bots before taking on the rest. And while they are definitely more on the easy side, the latter 4 certainly throw much more at the player, which gives a great sense of difficulty progression, especially for newcomers. Another feature that makes the experience a little easier is the item shop. With screws found throughout the levels, players can purchase useful items that make the game just a bit more accessible, and lets experienced players skip some of the exploration if they want to. Though, without the manual on hand, there's no real indication that this even exists, so newer players might not even find it. While the game mostly feels the same as it used to, with Mega Man controlling just as precise as he always did, the same can't be said about how it looks. With a stunning double the pixels at hand, it's easy to say that Mega Man 7 improved in its visuals, but the extent to which it did so is honestly quite stunning. There's an incredible amount of detail that went into each and every level, and the sprites are more lively than ever before. I mean, just look at these animations. And the colors are as vibrant and varied as never before. This is also a pretty stark contrast to the X series, with its more muted and serious art style. Mega Man 7 keeps itself fresh by going for a cuter look, and it works incredibly well. Just look around the levels and it's hard to miss all the beautiful details they put into each one. Especially the backgrounds of each stage have been designed with a whole ton of love. As is par of the course for the series, there's also an incredible soundtrack to listen to while you play. Mega Man 7 doubles down on its great presentation with exceptional level design. Each level has a cool and unique theme. Among others, Mega Man travels into a haunted fortress, a laboratory full of spikes, a racetrack, or mechanical Jurassic Park. In each one, he once again has to overcome many unique obstacles, such as being flung all over on huge springboards, or having to go along to the rising tides of laboratory goo, or a stage that turns dark only when you hit the ground. Each stage brings something new to the table and provides new and interesting ways to get ahead. Many stages also use the new technology to their advantage, like those that scroll vertically. There's also some great mini-bosses introduced, with my favorite of these being the massive truck in Turboman stage. What's pretty immediately apparent though is that these levels hide much more. Mega Man 7 copied some notes from X in just the right spot, and thus the developers put a bunch of secrets into each level for you to discover. Some of these require crazy blind jumps, digging into the ground, or to find secret rooms in the most obscure locations. They can be found just about everywhere and unlock all sorts of upgrades for Mega Man. This element of discovery greatly changes how you approach the entire game. Many levels are also much more interactable. For example, you can shoot these power stations to activate an elevator and find Rush Jet, which you can immediately use in the next room to make this section much easier. Or here, also in Junkman stage, where you can freeze a part of the level to progress down an alternate path. Later on in Slashman stage, you can burn down this forest to reveal a whole new secret exit. Moments like these elevate the depth of each stage, and they're pretty much everywhere. Many of the stages also have fully separate paths that give even greater replay value. Just look at Shademan stage, where you can defeat the pumpkin boss not only the regular way of shooting its core, but also by shooting its outer shell, which unlocks a whole secondary part of the level, with totally new things to discover. But that's not all the secrets this game holds. Press B on the stage select and see for yourself. Megaman 7 is full of little references just like this. It's a love letter to its inspirations, with little homages sprinkled everywhere throughout the experience. Shademan's Secret Ghosts and Goblins theme is only one of many. The opening of the game is not only a callback to Mega Man 6, repeating the game's ending in its own opening, but also the only time in the series since Mega Man 2 they've done that. And there's more, look at Cloudman's stage here. Or Slashman's dinosaur who crawls back to the dragon from Mega Man 2. And come on, a turtle monster called Gamerizer? There's even an entire level dedicated to honoring past Robot Masters halfway through the game. And there's many more of these little references and visual gags hidden throughout, and they're such great fun to find for yourself. Secrets in Mega Man 7 aren't just fluff either, as they give some substantial upgrades to Mega Man. Of course there's the Super Adapter, an evolution of Mega Man 6's Rush Adapters, but you can also find Proto Man's shield, which blocks some incoming fire. This is also the first time that we've seen items like the Exit Unit or weapon tanks in the classic games, which are a great convenience. All of this makes the player steadily feel stronger towards the end, and these upgrades are very much worth getting, since the later stages get progressively harder, culminating in the Wily stages, which are pretty punishing. But to players who went out of their way to collect the many items you can find, these stages will be much easier to get past, especially the Super Adapter, which helps not only in the levels themselves, but also in the battles against base. Mega Man also has some great weapons at his disposal this time, some of my favorites being the Noise Crash, Slash Claw, or Junk Shield. Beyond just being pretty varied overall, a lot of them give you a great amount of control as well. For example, you can charge Noise Crash by bouncing it off walls, or control the bounce height of your wild coils. The way weapons interact with the environment also gives them extra staying power and makes each one feel a little more meaningful. Many weapons also have special interactions with bosses, like how the Thunderbolt powers up Springman, or Freezeman healing when you hit him with his own weapon. And the unique boss AI makes for unique experiences on top of this, with Freezeman acting entirely reactive to you or Slashman trying to corner you. Most of the robot masters you fight have similar quirks and it makes anyone fight a spectacle. Fighting each boss without their weaknesses is very much worth it to see their unique patterns and behaviors. Not only are the bosses fun and unique, the switch to the SNES also allowed for some quite different body types, and I think these new designs are much better for it. The bosses for each Wily stage continue this trend with some really unique entries, and even 2 fights against Base who can morph with Treble just like you can with Rush, for a new power-up form that's much stronger. The game culminates during the finale in Wily's Fortress, and after yet another lengthy boss rush, you've got to battle Wily for the 7th time. And surprisingly, the final battle is probably one of the most difficult in the series so far, and it's plenty of fun. After Wily's machine is beaten, Mega Man does something nobody would have ever expected. At the climax of the story, he attempts to kill Wily right then and there. After stopping Wily 7 times, Mega Man finally snaps. But he hesitates, and only watches as Base saves Wily from the wreckage. And as he himself escapes from the fortress, he leaves nothing but carnage and destruction. Mega Man 7 left a big impression on me when I was young, and that's not only due to its shocking ending. The game innovates practically everywhere and finds a great middle ground between the classic series and Mega Man X. Not only are there secrets to find in every corner, but the game's visual splendor can be seen in every little facet of it. It connected well from its predecessor and tried a proper story for the first time, although it certainly could have been better implemented. From amazing level design, great details, and some incredibly unique bosses, the love and passion that went into making Mega Man 7 radiates all across it, and what the team put together in only 3 months is incredibly impressive. In conclusion, I not only think that this game can very well stand on its own 2 feet, but it's easily one of the best and most innovative titles in the entire series. It's always been one of my favorites since the first time I played it as a child, and I've only learned to love it more over the years.